Hey there guys, Nordic Warrior here, welcome back to my video game review series. So, today we're going to be looking at Lord of the Rings The Two Towers, the movie license game, released in 2002, developed by Stormfront Studios. So, The Two Towers is a third-person action-adventure game based on the Lord of the Rings Two Towers movie. Despite being titled The Two Towers, half of the game actually covers the events of the Fellowship of the Ring movie. At the beginning of the game you get a tutorial which is set during the prologue of the Fellowship of the Ring, where you play as Isildur, as he and his forces of elves and men march upon the slopes of Mount Doom to take on the Dark Lord Sauron and his forces. This gives you an introduction into the game's overall combat mechanics. You have light attacks for taking out enemies swiftly, as well as heavy attacks for knocking enemies to the ground and breaking enemy shields. One of the things that stands out right away about this game is how well the game runs. You have numerous enemies on screen in the tutorial alone, and the sheer intensity of everything going on around you was quite impressive at the time. Once the tutorial is over, you then get to start the main story, starting with a short fight where you play as Aragorn and have to defend Frodo from the Nazgul. For the main portion of the game, you get to choose between three playable characters: Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli. Playing as Legolas, you have a more flashy, finessed combat experience with the quickest and most fluid attacks. Legolas also has by far the most powerful and effective ranged attacks, with Legolas of course being an expert archer. With Legolas you can hold more arrows and do more damage from a distance. Playing as Gimli, you are much slower and much more basic, but with far more powerful melee attacks, and more durability due to his physical strength and superior dwarven armor, as well as his huge battle axe. His ranged attacks are unique, with him throwing axes instead of having a bow. Gimli is like a mini armored battle tank. Playing as Aragorn, you get a more balanced experience, with him being a bit of a mix of the other two. Aragorn has great melee attacks as well as decent ranged attacks with a bow. More armor than Legolas, but not quite as much as Gimli. His style is a bit more adaptable and can be both fluid and ragged at the same time. You also have a fourth unlockable playable character. As I mentioned earlier, you play as Isildur in the tutorial of the game, and once you complete the game you unlock him for the rest of the game too. Isildur is basically a reskinned version of Aragorn, but with slightly higher stats, which does make sense with him being Aragorn's ancestor and wearing a full suit of Gondor armor. You can also unlock a quick dash attack, which can lead to some pretty funny glitches. The game has some pretty awesome level design, with several locations of the movies being recreated for the game. The game does a really great job of capturing the atmosphere of the movie, as well as truly giving you an authentic experience. Areas such as Balin's Tomb, Amon Hen, and Helm's Deep look absolutely fantastic. The Battle of Helm's Deep takes up multiple levels, and does a really great job to capture the intensity of the movie. You have a decent amount of enemy variety in the game, with several different types of orcs and Uruk-hai, as well as larger, tougher enemies such as trolls and berserkers. You fight goblins who are small and annoying, orcs with dual axes, orcs with shields that you can break to do damage to them, archer enemies that come in various forms, and even suicide bombers. Yeah, remember the scene from the Two Towers movie with the suicide bomber? This game has a whole bunch of them in some of the later levels. The game also has some pretty epic boss battles, including the likes of the Nazgul, the Watcher in the Water, Lurtz, the Cave Troll, Sharku and his Warg Riders, and the lead Orc from the final battle at Helm's Deep, who somehow seemingly dies in one of the levels and then comes back to life in the next one. The game has a tremendous amount of replay value too, with the ability to replay levels at your will with any character. You have an incentive to do this, since the game has a pretty good leveling up system, as well as a refined combat system. The game rewards you for your efficiency in combat by giving you a hit combo meter. The more consecutive hits you land, the more points you obtain, points which lead to you leveling up your character faster. Once you level up and complete a level, you can buy new upgrades for your character, as well as improving your weapon damage, armor, and unlocking several new combo attacks for combat. Once you reach level 10, your characters become significantly more powerful, particularly Legolas, who can unlock flaming mithril arrows which are so powerful that you can even break through enemy shields and pass through one enemy into another. Seriously, level 10 Legolas is even more of a badass than regular Legolas, but I digress. Once you have beaten the main game, you unlock a bonus level called Tower of Orthang, which is basically a horde mode which takes place in Saruman's tower. I guess the characters of this game each thought they could take on Saruman and all of his forces single-handedly, but I digress. It's a pretty challenging mission at lower levels, but once you unlock some of the later upgrades, it can be done without too many issues. Adding to the authenticity, you have several of the main cast of the movie reprising their roles for the game, such as Viggo Mortensen as Aragorn, Orlando Bloom as Legolas, Elijah Wood as Frodo, and John Rhys Davies as Gimli. It's cool to hear these actors voice their characters from the movie, and it just helps to make the game a little bit more authentic. In addition to the main game, you also have the ability to unlock several bonus features, including interviews with some of the filmmakers such as director Peter Jackson, as well as interviews with some of the developers of the game, with some behind the scenes footage of the game's development. You also have the ability to unlock interviews with some of the voice cast. These are really fun to listen to. John Rhys Davies in particular seems to be having a blast with the game.
You have to go for a Gimli.
You also have plenty of concept art as well as some movie production stills which you can view in the menu. So all in all, this game is a masterpiece for its time, a truly great movie license game with a real authentic experience. The game has great graphics and presentation for the most part, and great sound design, on par with the sound design of the movie. It's a game that has a huge amount of replay value. I give The Two Towers a very solid 9 out of 10, a great movie license game, and I can't recommend it enough. Let me know what you guys think. Stay tuned for my review for Lord of the Rings The Return of the King. I'm hoping to have that review out soon. And stay tuned for more retrospective video game reviews. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching and God bless.
You shall pay for your arrogance. Apu buya muyaha!